Personally, I don't think I know anybody who enjoys discipline, because discipline has such a negative connotation. It's like getting a shot when you were a kid. You know that the vaccine is good for you. You know it might even save your life, yet you will resist it with all power if at all possible. We want to live life with no restrictions, with no limits, with no boundaries. Living that way sounds like the good life. It sounds like the way to get all the freedom that we crave. But the reality is, the right limits and the right boundaries are what give us our freedom. We don't like the idea of exercising daily, of eating healthy. We don't like the idea of setting aside money every month for investments or for savings. But consider the physical freedom of somebody who exercises daily and who eats healthy compared to the physical struggles of people who don't. Or think about the financial stability of people who invest or who put away for savings versus the financial stress of people who never do. It's this boundary and it's this discipline that actually gives the people the thing that they're looking for. Anything meaningful comes with discipline. If you want something good in life, you've got to train yourself, you've got to be disciplined, and you've got to be committed. Call it whatever you want. Call it discipline, call it focus, call it intentionality. Regardless, nothing good comes without it. Now, here's the thing. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. It's not exactly rocket science to say that discipline is required to accomplish something meaningful. And so if we all know this, and if this is clear to everybody, why is discipline so hard? Why are so many of us so bad at it when we know it's good for us? At our firm, we come across a number of physicians and dentists all the time who have never thought through their financial future, who have made no financial plan, and who are spending their money the second they earn it. And the reason they've never thought through their financial future or made any sort of plan is because they assumed they would make enough money that they wouldn't have to. Or if they did happen to run into some kind of financial crisis, they were smart enough to make it through medical school or dental school, and so they'll be smart enough to figure this out too. But by the time they're a year or two into full-time practice, they are in full-out financial chaos. Some of them have no idea where all of their investments are because they've kept no records. Some have no savings whatsoever. Their debt is increasing rather than decreasing. They can't account for how they spend their paychecks. And these are really smart, highly educated individuals who earn a really large income. And yet they're bleeding cash left and right. And these physicians and dentists that we meet, they don't have a money problem because they make plenty. And they certainly don't have an intellect problem because they're very smart. What they have is a discipline problem. And my point in telling you this is to say that it really doesn't matter who you are. You can be rich or poor, you can be educated or not educated, you can be professional or working class. It really doesn't matter. Everybody struggles with discipline on some level, even though we know it's good. So why is that? As a culture, our lack of discipline comes from a lot of different sources. Obviously, instant gratification is a big deal. We like the drive-through. We like microwaves. We like having access to things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But honestly, it's not just our society. The ancient Buddhist tradition, which dates back almost 5,000 years, teaches that craving is at the heart of all our suffering. Craving is whenever we chase after all the things that leave us unsatisfied, yet we continue chasing after them even more. So it's not just instant gratification, and it's not just about our increased standards of living. It's not even about our cravings. I think all of those things are held together by one big lie that keep us from living disciplined lives. And the lie is this: you will only be happy when you have more. And you can see off the bat why that's a lie. Because if happiness lies in having more, you will never actually be happy because there's always going to be something else to get. We're driven by relevance. If you want to be relevant, you have to have more social media followers. You have to sell more books. You have to have a bigger house, a nicer car, a more prestigious job. Everything is about having more. And so it's no wonder that we hate discipline. Because discipline tells us that freedom is actually found by finding the good and right and healthy boundaries, by living within healthy limitations, that's where the good life is to be found. If you're driven by the idea of more, I want to give you a better word. An even better word than more is the word enough. Having enough is where we find satisfaction and joy in life. The comedian and actor Jim Carrey, who at one time was the highest paid actor in Hollywood, has famously said, "I wish everybody would get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of doing so that they'll see that it's not the answer. The answer is not in having more. The answer is found in having enough." Because when we have enough, when we live within the boundaries and the limitations that bring about freedom, we're no longer chasing after our cravings. We're no longer driven by everybody else's standards. We no longer have to be satisfied right now. We understand that discipline becomes our friend because discipline helps us identify what's best and to stick to the path that pursues it. Usually, people who are disciplined with their money are also more disciplined with their health. Typically, people who are disciplined with their job are also disciplined at home. And so how you do anything is how you do everything. Don't be satisfied with living a life of instant gratification and rising standards and chasing after every craving. Pursue something more meaningful. Pursue something that actually gives you freedom in the things that you want most. And the way to pursue that is through discipline. Don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it, because discipline is good, and it very well might save your life.